Thank you, Juliana. Thank you, Karina, and all colleagues. Good afternoon. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Really nice day and we're really grateful to be part of this very distinguished event on the third Masterclass for Smart Green Cities Initiative. And I think I would also say hi to Pak Faris as our close colleague from PTSMI, who's also will share some of their view. And I think you all will find our presentation is really or will be complementing each other because we are actually supporting similar program and initiative, and as part of the government of Indonesia's fiscal instruments. I think we can share with you on how we actually execute the mandates on how to enable the ecosystem for infrastructure, and also including cities across Indonesia on how to get the financing, and actually trying to be more credible in terms of the risk management, so that we can get good projects and sustainable ones for delivering services to the people. I'd like to share my presentation in a few slides, and as you can see, the title, which more focusing on the risking facility and government support, and I'd like to focus on one of the creative financing method through public-private partnership, because this is the program that actually has been promoted by the government for the last 1 or 2 decades to close the financing gap. And actually this is very relevant to the topics that you're offering to us to share. And for the first slide, I think we can go directly to slide number 4. Just to show how relevant that when we talk about infrastructure development with the challenges and opportunities, it's really related to the risk and some of the issues related to the financing and also on the project feasibility. And you can see in terms of if we focus on the Asian countries, we will see some funding gaps annually. It's quite large, and I think it's not unique to one or two countries in ASEAN, but also for other regions. And here is why we need the private capital to be in place for supporting the program. And if we talk about the private capital and investment, I think we will see ourselves on how it can relate heavily to the perceived risk for investment. And I think if you can see on the right-hand side, one of the key issues, the risk, which related to the political risk and some of the bankability issues, some other risks in terms of the lack of government capacity, and also related to the regulatory and others, including the financing risk and related to the macroeconomic like forex risk. And I think this is something that as the country that really needs for promoting private capital to support our infrastructure program, Indonesia has developed a set of policies and instruments to support the investment environment, and one of them is the guarantee facility through us as a state-owned enterprise, as a fiscal instrument. We call ourselves as Indonesia Infrastructure Guarantee Fund, or PT Penjaminan Infrastruktur Indonesia. In the next slide, I think we can see the funding gaps and the financing gaps. It's very large. With the capacity of our national budget is less than 40%, and I think the remaining still requires support from other sources, including the private capital. And if we talk about the sectors, I think it's very wide. There are 22 eligible sectors for PPP. That's basically related to connectivity, social infrastructure, and public utility. And as I mentioned earlier, in terms of the support and instruments, you can see for each stage of the project, from project preparation, enhancing the commitment, the viability, bankability, and land acquisition, the government has set some of the policies and instruments, including us, the PTPII or IGF. Our main mandate is actually to provide a sovereign guarantee, which actually typically provided by the Minister of Finance or government. And we can also be assigned for the project development facility, I think similar like PTSMI, to assist the government contracting agency or GCA, which is actually can be local government, like cities and municipalities and provincial governments to execute the PPP program. So the next slide, I think in terms of how the guarantee can create value, I think we can see what are the features. I think we can see ourselves as the only de-risking instrument, which is actually providing government guarantee that can also provide project development assistance. If you can see in the market, you can let's say assess, let's say there is a political risk instruments or other kind of guarantees provided by MIGA or ISEC or other institution. I think none of them are providing assistance for project development. And I think this is something that we are actually find ourselves quite useful to be involved in this context, because this will also help us in doing the evaluation and structuring and also the risk monitoring. It actually, these features can help us to provide some advantages to many stakeholders, including enhancing the project credibility, the transparency, and how we can, there is some of the concern in terms of the risk allocation and so on, and provide investment comfort. So that we can see the guarantee is not only acting as a financing enabler, but also acting as a project enabler. And below we can see, hopefully with this kind of instruments and assistance, it can create better value for money for the government and the people. And the next slide, just how to share with you that our approach in providing guarantees is actually based on the common and already proven methodology in terms of risk management process. And here we can see that the aim for our guarantee is actually to support the quality of the contract between the government and the private investors, so that the credibility of the project can be enhanced. And this can be done through the fair risk allocation between parties. For instance, we can see, let's say, like in the right-hand side below, how the risk is actually broken down into certain more details in terms of the risk event, and we can see how every party related to the project, including the GCA, the private investor, will hold account to manage that risk, so that we can see in terms of the cost of handling the risk is actually can be optimal. And for that, I think this can also be seen as more efficient and effective for the project implementation, and how also to get the financing from the lenders. I think this is something that become our focus in providing the guarantee. In the next slide, you can see the structure of our guarantee. So if you're already familiar with the structure of PPP, so we can see on the top two boxes, you can see the GCA, which is representing the government contracting agency. They will have the PPP agreement with the project company or the investor, which can be financed through debt and equity by lenders and sponsors. And if the project requires and implemented by our guarantee, there will be us, PTPII or IIGF, as the third party, providing guarantee agreement to the SPV as the second contract. And as the third contract, we will also have the recourse agreement, which is actually attached by the risk mitigation plan by the project owner or the GCA for us to evaluate, so that we can approve the guarantee provision for the project. how it is actually working is that in the PP agreement, when we see the risk allocation, you will find what would be the financial obligation from the GCA to the investors. So that's the universe of our risk coverage. So in other sense that we cannot guarantee the SPV's risk or the investors' risks, but we can only guarantee the government risk that can obstruct the fulfillment of the financial obligation of the government to the investors. And as we can see below, I think we can also be supported by guarantee cooperation, including with the multilaterals or development agencies, and also with the Ministry of Finance, because this is really depends on the size of the capacity of IIGF. If we compare to the needs of the risk exposure, for instance, if the project is too large, I think we can get access to have the co-guarantee with the government, so that we are still the main party for processing the guarantee, and we can access the state budget for increasing our guarantee capacity. So as I mentioned, in the right-hand side, there's a box for possible guaranteed risk. It's only relates to the government risk, including government action or inaction, the breach of contract, the change in law, and also early termination by the government. And as I mentioned earlier, the GCA can also mean the line ministries and also head of the institution from the government, the regional government, and also some SOEs or regional-owned enterprise which can represent the government under the contract. 2 more minutes. Okay, thank you. I think this slide can also show us on how the risk allocation principle to be implemented. I think we can discuss this later. Let me jump into some of the project cases. We have some of them provided here. So first of all is the PPP street lighting project with Madiun municipalities. I think this is not only become the regional PPP pilots for Indonesia, but also a pilot for a small-scale PPP program. And this is actually how the regional government with the smaller fiscal capacity can also utilize the creative financing scheme through PPP. So as you can see, the investment value is quite low. It's less than 100 billion rupiah or around 6.5 million US dollar. It uses availability payment as the investment scheme, and the concession period is around 10 years. And we are providing the guarantees for the regional government so that the investors can be more comfort in investing for this project. In the next slide, I think we are talking about national project, which is actually located in one of the major island in Indonesia. It's in Kalimantan. It's called Singkawang PPP Airport. It's still under project development stage, and we are actually providing a larger coverage for this project because the investment value is also quite significant here. It's more than 100 million US dollar. And for this project, we actually has been also assigned as the PDF or project development facility implementer by the MOF. The next slide, I think I also want to share with you on the waste management facility in West Java province. It's called Legok Nangka project. It has larger investment value, and I think with this kind of project, we also see how, let's say, the region we can also support how the regional government can achieve certain level of sustainability in the management of the waste in their region. The next slide. I think just briefly on what we are. I think these are trying to depicts our mandates. We are not only providing PPP guarantees, but also some other programs like non-PPP guarantees, for instance, like credit guarantee to state-owned enterprise and the guarantee for national strategic project, in addition to our role for PDF. And I think last slide will be how our guarantees has providing certain contribution to the financing of the project, and I think so far we have around 52 guarantees, which the investment values are around $33 billion, and the number of PPP project is around 34 projects, which amounted around $20 billion in investment value. I think these are our presentation. Let me get back to you for the next Q&A or other session that requires our explanation. Thank you.